How to make pickle soup. It is officially soup season, and this is one of my favorite soups to make. Now, this soup can be a labor, but you can skip out on the labor if you want and just get pre-cut vegetables. But you're going to start by cutting up your carrots and your potatoes into really whatever size that you want. I like to do a variety of sizes because I like a variety of texture in my soup. After you've cut up all your vegetables, you're going to throw them in a pot with some salt, and then you're going to get your chicken broth and put that in there with the vegetables. The recipe I'm using today is gluten-free, but you can use regular flour if you don't need gluten-free or don't want gluten-free. Once you have your chicken broth and your vegetables in your pot, you're going to turn your stove on pretty much high, and then you're going to get your butter and throw your butter in there and let that melt, and then get the whole thing to a nice rolling boil. By the way, I am using half sticks here, so it is going to be one regular stick of butter. While the broth comes to a boil, you are going to prep your pickles. Now, you can use as many pickles for this as you want. I prefer to use more, so I did 4 spears of the large Clausens, which ended up being perfectly a cup. Again, you can cut these however you like. I think most people probably would prefer them a fine dice, so I just diced mine up and then I did an even further dice. The next thing you're going to prep is the thickener for the soup, which is flour, sour cream, and water. There, my cat was being a thief in the night. This is definitely the part where you can't avoid labor. It's going to take a lot of stirring for this to get completely incorporated, unfortunately, but it is worth it, trust me. I honestly love using sour cream and flour as a thickener instead of just flour and water because it genuinely makes the soup so much creamier with the sour cream. It sounds weird, but I think it's good. It's important to note that while you do this, you want to use cold sour cream with the flour because it will fortify the sour cream from the heat whenever you put it into the pot. And you're going to add this to your pot gradually, and you're going to stir it very vigorously as you do it. First, we're going to add our pickles that we cut up earlier, and we're going to give that a little stir, and then we're going to add our paste gradually. I didn't have a metal whisk, so I was considering that maybe a metal fork would work better, and it definitely did not. So I switched over to my whisk, even though it was not metal. I would recommend just using a whisk from the start. You're basically just going to vigorously whisk until you can't see any more clumps and you start to feel it thicken. And once you start to feel it thicken, you can turn your heat down. Next, we're going to cut some of the thickness with pickle juice. So you're going to add 2 cups of pickle juice. If you want to add less or more, you definitely can do that as well. We're going to keep this on low, let it simmer, heat back up after we just added the cold pickle juice, and then add some seasonings. First, we're going to go in with some Old Bay. Then we're going to go in with some black pepper, some paprika, and then I also added salt as well. You're going to stir this up and let it continue to simmer and let those flavors really melt together. And while you're doing